Hey everyone, what is going on? And welcome to the new season, the Rising Heroes season. And we are in the Fantasy Cup today. This is for the Ultra League, so the Fantasy Cup is in the Ultra League. And I know a lot of us are disappointed with the new season, with the lack of move updates, the lack of care by Niantic, but I'm still going to cover it because at the end of the day, I still love Go Battle League, I still love Pokemon Go, and I still love making content. So we're talking about the Fantasy Cup, and as I mentioned, it is in the Ultra League, and the typings are going to be Fairy typing, Dragon typing, and Steel typing, and Galarian, Stunfisk, and Cobalion are banned. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. For the S rank, we do have Lucario. Lucario is a great fighting type user in this meta. It's a Steel fighting type, and yeah, I mean, just definitely going to be very powerful with that counter power punch and Shadow Ball. Really strong Pokemon. Next up, we have Registeel. Whenever Registeel is eligible, you know Registeel is going to be good. Until they nerf it, it's going to be really good, right? With that Zap Cannon, with that Focus Blast lock on. Great Pokemon. You all know Registeel. Next up is Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is the best fairy type, in my opinion, in the Fantasy Cup. It has Water Gun, Surf, and Moonblast. Just definitely a really, really strong Pokemon. Escavalier is another counter user, so similar to Lucario, it is a counter user. Both of them are really, really squishy, but, you know, a really strong one. At that, it can handle all of the Steel typings. Next up, we have Solgaleo. Solgaleo is going to be actually pretty good. Now, the thing is, you could only get one Solgaleo or one Lunala at this point in time. Now, if you chose Lunala, unfortunately, you can't use Solgaleo. But if you chose Solgaleo, it's a Steel and Psychic typing. So it's a great Pokemon in this meta with that Fire Spin attack. Did I say Fire Fang? But it has Fire Spin. I don't know what I said earlier, but either way, it has Fire Spin, I believe. And it's just going to do well against the Steel typings, right? Like the Lucario, like the Escavalier, like the Registeel. It's just going to do really, really well against those Pokemon with the Psychic Fangs to debuff your opponents as well. There's a lot of Steel typings in this meta, so I think Solgaleo is going to be really good. I have a Solgaleo. But it has, I think it has perfect attack, but it has lower defense and HP. But still, I mean, obviously you can only get one, you take what you can get. So I'll definitely be, I'm sure I'll be using it. I'm sure I'll be using Solgaleo. Then moving on, we have the A rank and we have Escavalier, not Escavalier. Why am I calling it Escavalier? It's Excadrill. Excadrill is a great Pokemon. It's really frail, of course, right? It's even frail in the Master League, and this is the Ultra League. But still, with that Mud Shot, Rock Slide, Drill Run, going to be doing well against the Steel typings with the Drill Run, like Registeel, but it does require shields. Then we have Magnezone, so if you're looking for a good answer to Tapu Fini, Magnezone, I mean, obviously Registeel is a great one, but Magnezone, another electric type is going to be, well, Registeel is not an electric type, but Magnezone is an electric type, and it's going to be doing well against the Tapu Fini. You can charge up the back-to-back wild charge attacks. A lot of people do that and fire them off at Tapu Fini. Then we have Giratina. Giratina is a great Pokemon. I do recommend Shadow Sneak and Shadow Claw on this one, not Dragon Breath, because fairy types are eligible. And even against like Steel typings, the Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, adding up, right? Even against Tapu Fini, because the thing is, you resist Water Gun, you resist Surf. Moonblast is super effective, but Giratina survives one. So, I mean, the damage is adding up. Giratina is a great Pokemon in this meta. It's usually always good in the Ultra League metas. Then we have Steelix. Steelix is another great one. This is another XL1 similar to Registeel. You could get away with using the Perfect and only giving it a few XLs. Obviously, the more XLs, the tankier, the better it's going to be. But, you know, Dragon Tail, Psychic Fangs, and then it's either Crunch or Earthquake, depending on your team. And then next up, we have the B rank. We have Alolan Sandslash. So if you're looking for a really good answer against Giratina, Alolan Sandslash could be that. Because Shadow Claw and Ice Punch going to be doing really well against the Giratina and really fast as well. Togedemaru is interesting. This is the one that needs XL candy. I don't have XL candy for Togedemaru, but you know, still not a bad Pokemon if you happen to have enough XLs for it. I have no idea how many XL candy I have for it, to be honest. Yeah, another electric typing for that Tapu Fini, which is going to be really strong. Berserk is another strong one. Shadow Claw, Foul Play, Close Combat. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see this Pokemon occasionally. Next up, we have Genesect, the Burn Drive Genesect, so the fire one with Technoblast. The fire Technoblast, I think, is probably the best Genesect in this meta because it's going to do well against all the Steel typings, like the Solgaleo, like the Registeel, like the Lucario, like the Escavalier, right? I mean, that Technoblast is no joke. Magnezone, Steelix, Alolan Sandslash, you get the point, right? So this is definitely going to be a really, really strong Pokemon, I think. The next up, we have a Fairy Wind user. We have Slurpuff. Slurpuff, obviously doesn't necessarily appreciate Steel types, but it does have a move, Flamethrower, that it can fire back at the Steel type Pokemon, so it does have play there. And yeah, overall, going to be an interesting pick. For this meta. The other options with Fortress, I don't see Fortress having too much play. It does have Earthquake. I think, does it have Sand Tomb? I want to say it has Sand Tomb. I'm not really too sure, to be honest. Or is it Rock Tomb? I don't really know, to be honest. But I guess it does have some play against like some of the Steel types. But I think there's definitely better options. Giratina Origin Form is the more attack weighted Giratina. The altered form, I feel, is better, but the attack weighted could see some play here or there. Kommo-o, so Kommo-o is pretty decent with that Dragon Tail attack as the fast move, and then Close Combat and Boom Burst. I'm just kidding. Do not use Boom Burst on Kommo-o unless if you just want to mess around. Doesn't really matter. You want to see how long it takes to get to Boom Burst, but obviously you don't want Boom Burst. You want Close Combat and Dragon Claw on Kommo-o. And then we have Galarian Weezing, another Fairy Wind user. So this Pokemon has Brutal Swing. It has Overheat, and it has Play Rough. So if you do run Overheat, you do have play against those Steel typings, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to debuff your attack, so watch out for that. Then we have Empoleon. Empoleon is a strong, powerful waterfall user. Has to watch out for the counter users, but no, I mean, pretty good. But we do have better options. And then we have another counter user. We have Haxorus. Haxorus for sure. So, yeah, I mean, similar to Lucario and Escavalier, they're all squishy in this meta, but Haxorus gets to the moves pretty fast. Could be used pretty successfully. It's going to be doing well against the Steel typings for sure, no doubt about it. Then we have Melmetal. Melmetal, powerful Pokemon. Super Power. I think the Registeel is gonna win, of course. If we're talking which is the better Steel typing to use, but it does have Super Power. It does have Rock Slide. Super Power is going to hit those Steel typings. The only problem is you do debuff yourself. Next up we have Florges. Florges, yet another Fairy Wind user. The only issue with Florges is that it only has fairy moves as the charge attacks. It also, it has Psychic, but what I mean is it has nothing that could hit Steel typing. So the other Fairy Wind users like the Weezing and the Slurpuff, I think are going to be better in this meta than Florges. Another Genesect, we do have the Water one. We have the Water one, right? The Water Technoblast, and I mean it's going to be the Water attack going to be doing powerful damage. I do think the Fire one is going to be better, but the Water one obviously going to still hit for a lot. Then we have Alola Ninetales or Shadow Alola Ninetales, both of which are very, very powerful. But in this meta, I feel like there's so many Steel typings, like Registeel, like Solgaleo, like Escavalier, Magnezone, Excadrill, Steelix, Alolan Sandslash. You all get the point. This Ninetales is going to meet up with a lot of those Steel types, right? So I don't think Charm is going to be the best in this meta, so I wouldn't recommend using the Alola Ninetales. Then we have Zacian. So Zacian dominates the Master League, or at least it used to. I haven't played the Master League in a while, but it's a really strong Pokemon. It could have some play here. Obviously, that Close Combat is going to do well against the Steel typings. And then Flygon, but not with Boom Burst. Not with Boom Burst at all. You do want the Mud Shot with the fast move. Dragon Claw and Earth Power, I think, is probably the moves that you want. Really spammy, so could be pretty good. Not the best, but if you're going for spice, I think Flygon is a little bit spicy. But let's go ahead and swipe on over to the solid team options. So for the first team, we're having a double counter user team with Tapu Fini in the lead. So if you lose the lead, you do save swap into one of your counter users like Lucario or Escavalier, maybe lure out something else. Like, for example, if there's a Registeel in the lead or a Magnezone, obviously you're going to switch out because the fighting types do well against that, whereas Tapu Fini does not. But if there's Steel types in the back, you're looking pretty good because the double fighting, they're not both fighting types. Escavalier is not a fighting type, but both counter users doing really well against Steel types. I could imagine we see maybe double Steel in this meta as well. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, if there's a Solgaleo in the back, you're kind of going to struggle But Tapu Fini with that water gun going to do well. Tapu Fini going to do well against, against Giratina. Lucario has played against Giratina as well because of the Shadow Ball. I think this could be a pretty good team. The next team we have Registeel in the lead with Giratina as a safe swap. Tapu Fini as well. I think Giratina is a great safe swap, even if they do have a good response to it, like a Fairy type, because the Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneaks are adding up, as I said earlier, right? So definitely adding up. I think Giratina is a great safe swap in this meta. Next up, I wanted to try a double Fairy Wind team, so I put the Slurpuff and the Galarian Weezing on the team with Lucario in the lead. Of course, the backline not really going to appreciate Steel typings, but the thing is, Slurpuff can lure out the Steel typings. So, for example, let's say you lose the lead, you switch out into Slurpuff, it lures out the Steel type like Registeel if they have one, or Magnezone. You still have Flamethrower on this Slurpuff to hit those Pokemon for super effective damage, right? So you still have play there. Where Weezing won't necessarily have to worry about the Steel typings, because with Weezing, you could run Overheat, but you could also run Play Rough and Brutal Swing as well. And then, of course, Lucario is going to do well against the Steel typings. So for the next team, we do have a double Steel team with that Steelix, as well as the Registeel, and then the Tapu Fini in the lead. So the backline is going to struggle to what? It's going to definitely struggle to fighting type users like Lucario, like Escavalier, even Haxorus, whereas the Tapu Fini is going to do well against those Pokemon. Then next up, we have Magnezone in the lead with Giratina as a safe swap, as I mentioned. Giratina, I do like that safe swap. And then the Burn Drive Genesect, going to melt away those Steel typings, because, I mean, Magnezone doesn't like going up. Well, Magnezone can go up against Steel typings, but like Giratina, I mean, they both have some play depending on the Steel typing. Obviously, Escavalier is going to be tough, but, you know, the Genesect going to burn him away, melt him. And then next up, we have Solgaleo in the lead. Great Pokemon with the Fire Spin. Is it Fire Spin or Fire Fang? Either way, one of those moves going to be really good. And then we have Tapu Fini and Giratina in the back. So, yeah, I mean, looking like a pretty good team if you have a Solgaleo. Don't worry about the IVs. If you didn't power it up for the Master League, it could be used in this Fantasy Cup. But again, we can only have one. Unless if you traded for another one, maybe you found a trainer that didn't care and just traded you this. I mean, that could be a thing, I guess. But anyway, let me know what you think of the Fantasy Cup. Again, this is in the Ultra League, and by the time you're watching this video, I'm not sure when I'm going to be uploading it. The meta may have already begun. Maybe I'll try to get it uploaded earlier before it starts. Probably a few hours before it starts. I'll probably try to get it uploaded before. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.